Hi, Joel Martin with Fairway Independent Mortgage, Fairway's first team, and I am here to talk to you today about the 4 C's of home buying. I get asked this all the time, what do I need to do to buy a house? And I've kind of broken it down for my clients to make it a little easier for them to understand. So the first C that we talk about is collateral. Collateral is the house that you're buying. We want to make sure it's got a good roof, it's got good walls, front door, back door, and all the interior systems like the plumbing and electrical are all working. Generally, your realtor will take care of most of this when they're talking to you because they'll actually get a home inspection for you once you get into the sales agreement with an accepted offer on the property. So collateral is basically the first C that we're looking for, the house that you're making a purchase of. The second C we look at is capacity. Capacity is your ability to make house payments. As a lender, we like to see a little bit of security. So we want to see a 2-year employment history. So if you're self-employed, we want you to have been self-employed and filed taxes for the last 2 years. If you're a W-2 employee, we'd like to see you being at the same job or the same field for the last 2 years. We can kind of tie different locations together or different job styles, but we want to see a 2-year history of your employment. The next thing we look at is basically income to debt ratio, and this is kind of where we kind of break out into loan programs as well. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in other videos down the road. But for now, so we're going to look at your debt ratio. That is basically calculated off of your gross income if you're a W-2 employee. It's basically your net income if you're self-employed. There's a few more criteria when you're self-employed that involves calculating your income that we have to work with. So debt ratio is the house payment and all of your debt divided into your gross monthly income, or the income that we calculate if you're self-employed. For FHA, we like to see this at a 55% or below. For conventional, we'd like to see it at a 45% or below. Like I said, we'll talk about conventional and FHA a little deeper in another video. But on to the third C, which is basically cash. We want to know how much cash you've got into the transaction. So when it comes to home loans, again, there are minimum down payment requirements. There is 100% financing, but those are, once again, another video. So with an FHA loan, you're going to require 3.5% down, and a conventional loan, you're going to require a 3% down payment. Those are the minimums. When we're looking at that as well, there's also another part that everybody forgets about, and that is closing costs. And that's not the fourth C, that's still part of the third C. But the closing costs are basically all the people that are involved in the transaction. You've got a realtor, you've got another realtor, you've got a escrow company, you've got a title officer, you've got a processor, underwriter, myself. So you've got about 50 people involved in the transaction. Unfortunately, everybody needs to get paid. So those become your closing costs. A lot of folks forget about the closing costs, and we're going to talk about closing costs in another video as well, in a little more detailed structure on how we can actually get extra cash for closing costs and have those covered so that you actually don't have to worry about them as much. As a first-time home buyer, we know that saving money and having a down payment is kind of the primary responsibility that you need to accomplish to get into the house. And then the fourth C is credit. And credit scores basically range anywhere from a 0, and I've never seen one, up to an 850. And that's also, when we're looking at loan programs, a quick recap. FHA is basically a 600 credit score up to about a 680. We can go higher if we need more of that debt ratio, and a conventional loan is basically a 680 and above, up to that 850. So in a recap, that's the 4 C's of home buying. And if you have questions about buying a house, my number, 503-807-7804. Once again, Joel Martin with Fairway's first team and thenwmortgageguy.com. Thank you.